episode of Robo Luchador! I'm your host, Russell, joined by with today...
Morgan.
How's everybody doing out there? Wait, I've got a social network real quick. Morgan, distract them.
Words, phrases, stories, excitement, action.
I'm completely enthralled by Morgan's distraction.
Yes, I am the greatest at those.
Alright, social networking's done.
Cool. So, this week has actually properly been a relatively slow kind of week.
I've been catching up on my reading. I've also jumped on a bandwagon, but that happens when I learn about an anniversary of something from my childhood.
What would that be?
Okay, so here's the story. Last week, after the show, we were just hanging out and chatting and browsing some things, sharing links, stuff we found funny, stuff we find awesome. And I found 2 figures, which I promptly pre-ordered for a new Yu-Gi-Oh movie. And it turns out there's a new Yu-Gi-Oh movie coming out, and I'm just now hearing about it for the 20th anniversary of Yu-Gi-Oh! It's called Yu-Gi-Oh! The Dark Side of Dimensions. There is an official trailer. I'm actually going to try and show that. I do not own the rights to this trailer. I do not claim to own the rights to this trailer. That is my disclaimer right now. So... switched over. Now let's check and see if it switches on the live stream. Come on. Come on. It's not switching. There it goes. So, I'm also going to mute it. Sorry, no sound. But, this is the trailer. Here's the thing about it. It's done by the original creator of the series. He's coming back. New designs, new everything for the series. And it's not going to be canon to the anime. It's canon to the manga. And there are huge difference between the manga and the anime. The trailer you're seeing is actually the US trailer. We will be getting it sometime in the future. Comes out later this month in Japan. And looks kind of awesome. Like, I've watched a lot of the Japanese trailers too. And they're not bad. Bum bum bum, 2016. But yeah, from everything I've read, it takes place 1 year after the end of Yu-Gi-Oh! And I'm excited, and that's the problem. I've jumped on a bandwagon. I have been buying up digital copies of the manga to catch up on reading it, and I bought Yu-Gi-Oh! Cards for the first time in almost 10 years. Well, I couldn't help myself. It was... they came out yesterday. They're in the mail. They were technically a pre-order item when I bought them. They came out yesterday. They're in the mail. I'll get them within the week. But it's the King of Games Yugi's Legendary Decks. It's an anniversary item as well. And it contains 3 of Yugi's decks. His Exodia deck from the first episode, the one he beat Kaiba with.
Yep.
It's his Battle City deck, Sans God cards. And then it's his Gadget deck that he used against his other self in the last duel of the series. Plus some fun cards that are just collectible and non-playable, like the original print of the God cards. Though you probably could use those to proxy the real God cards now, since they have playable versions.
See, I would comment, but I am not hyper knowledgeable about Yu-Gi-Oh. But
Oh,
it sounds good.
I've started reading up on some of the new rules, because every season they add a new gimmick. Like every new show, they add a new gimmick, right? With
Yep.
With 5Ds, they added synchro summoning. With Zexal, they added XYZ summoning, and with this new series, they've added something called pendulum summoning. How this has not broken the game, I don't know. Because what a pendulum card allows you to do is you play 2 pendulum cards, but you play them instead of monster cards, you play them as spell cards in the pendulum zones. And whatever difference there is in their power level, like one will have a number of 1, the other one will have a number like 8. You can play as many monsters as you can put on the board that scale from 1 star to 8 stars when you activate the pendulum. Yeah, how this game is not broken, I don't know with just that.
Yeah.
But I have no clue. I have no intention of playing professionally. I just got the cards because I wanted them. They seemed like fun. I still. It's a joke from the Yu-Gi-Oh movie Beyond Dimensions, Beyond Time, the triple crossover movie they did several years back. Every time someone says synchro summoning, I'm just like, what? But yeah, I'm guilty of this too. Like when I found out about the Digimon Tri stuff, I bought a Digivice, a Japanese Digivice from Tri that just makes noises and lights up, and plays the Evolution song from Tri and the theme from the original Digimon Adventure. Which second movie came out, and I've come to the conclusion that if they don't release the last 3 movies next year, it might be 2020 before these 6 movies are all out, and I'm afraid people won't care by then. But the second movie was really good, and I recommend it. If you have Crunchyroll, the episodes for the second movie are starting to go free. But yeah, I've just been watching anime and reading comics.
Nice. Have you got anything else this week?
Mostly it's just ogling some eye candy. Mezco released some behind-the-scenes pictures for their 112 Collective Punisher. And
yep.
It looks nice. Like, you're going to be able to do, it looks like you can do so many different Punishers. I'm not sure. Like, some of these I'd like to see, I don't know, be different characters. Like, they've got one that has the solid, classic, white gloves, white belt, classic Punisher. Then they have the one that has the skull, body armor. Then they have the one where it's, faded screen print and a leather jacket. And then the red body armor with the full skull mask. Stuff. So there's a lot of diversity here. I'm wondering if this is all going to be one figure or what. But I'm excited. It's probably another one I'm going to pick up. I passed on Daredevil when it went up for pre-order. Still passing on it. But this one is definitely one I might pick up from Marvel. I'm excited for their Deadpool and their Spider-Man coming out. And from the horse's mouth, I got a tweet the other day from them because I asked about it. I tweeted at Mezco, loving the 112 collection, but I was wondering if you were going to do, female characters like Uhura and Wonder Woman, specifically hitting at their Superman, Batman movie, and the Star Trek series they're doing. They said, yes, they intend to do female characters. So maybe we'll see
Awesome.
maybe we'll see some prototypes at San Diego Comic Con. But yeah, I'm super excited for the 112 line. It's an amazing line, especially if you wanted those like high scale cloth fabric figures, but you didn't want to pay like hot toy prices.
Yeah.
And these are a really good substitute. I think their most expensive figures are, not counting the Judge Dredd on the bike, are like $80.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty much all I've got. Like I've been, like I said, watching anime, playing World of Warcraft, and reading comic books.
Yeah. Well, I could start us off with some news if you want.
Yeah, go ahead. Maybe I've caught it during my downtime, but I don't know. But let's hear what you got.
Well, starting with Batman vs Superman, apparently it had the biggest opening of any DC movie, to the point that it beat Avengers and some of Marvel's biggest openings, and has now passed over 500 mil worldwide.
Nice. Nice. I'm happy.
Yeah, which again, I loved that movie, so it does make me happy.
Yeah, like, don't get me wrong, like, everyone's been, like, bashing that movie, and, yeah, Kevin Smith said something recently about that movie that it makes a lot of sense to me, but at the same time, it doesn't upset me. He's right.
Well,
There's
yeah,
not a lot of humor to this movie.
Yeah, but that's something that DC's never really focused on with Batman or Superman.
Nope.
Yeah, there's like some takes that have like a bit of humor, but at their core, Batman's a very serious character, and Superman can be as well.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, a lot of people have just still been trying to hammer it down. Like, I've seen IGN repost their negative article at least 7 times, and several other constant kind of "this is why Batman versus Superman sucked" kind of articles, and I haven't seen them or anyone else do that with any other kind of movie, and again, it's just a bit overwhelming at times, seeing so much hate for something that I don't actually think was anywhere near as bad as they were saying. Again, I loved it. I can see that it had problems, but I think everyone's blowing them out of proportion.
I agree with you. I entirely agree with you. I had so much fun watching that movie. I mean,
Yep.
I thought every character was well done. I loved
Yep.
the new take on Luthor. It was a mix of kind of modern and Golden Age Luthor, because Golden Age Luthor was more of the straight-up criminal.
Yeah, a lot of people say that he was just trying to copy Ledger, like Heath Ledger's Joker. I did not think that in the slightest.
No,
I think he was playing a psychologically deranged person.
Yes.
That's the only comparison that I could make.
Well, if you look at his plot from beginning to end, it is calculated. Like, look
Yeah.
at every move he makes, and throughout that movie, it's a plan.
Yeah.
Whereas
It's all a plan.
where all of
Yeah, he had
Joker's
none of
stuff-
that.
Where all of Joker's stuff in The Dark Knight was a
Just random
series
chaos.
of events.
Yep.
Even after he got all that money, he burnt it.
Oh yeah. And again, the way he plays Lex Luthor is as a crazy person.
Mm-hmm.
People have said, "Oh, but he's too obvious with his craziness." But that's the thing, though. Crazy people are crazy. They don't necessarily try to hide it when they're like the maniacal kind of crazy or that.
No, they don't at all.
When it comes to comic book villains, especially, like all his tics and all that, it seems to be like extreme OCD. But I think that's because he's so intelligent in the movie as well, to the point that he figured out both Bruce Wayne and Clark Kent's identities before the movie starts, because a lot of the dialogue points to that.
Exactly who he was messing with when he started.
Yeah.
this.
Because there was like a offhand comment about, "Oh, it's so easy, just send a few letters. Oh, you let your family die." He knew Bruce was Batman for years. And I don't know how he figured out Clark Kent was Superman or whatever, but he still knew. So again, I think he's hyper intelligent with a psychological disorder of some sort that causes him to be so maniacal.
Yeah.
And I think he pulled it off well.
I absolutely agree with you. I absolutely agree with you. He did pull it off amazingly well.
And yeah, the actual movie's structure, I can see where people's problems like lie with it. Yeah, it wasn't maybe edited in the best of ways. Somebody else might have been able to put together a better edit or something,
And
but
heck, we still might
not
get
to the
a
point.
better edit.
Pardon?
I said, heck, we still might get a better
Oh
edit.
yeah, because again, it's lacking a lot of scenes that were already in place that were removed to like make the movie more accessible. But again, yeah, it's a bit messy in some places with the editing, but not to the point that everyone's blowing it up to be. Like they make it sound like it's incomprehensible. You cannot follow the plot at all. I mean, it just loses you. No, it really doesn't. Not any more than any other kind of comic movie can do sometimes. That's the thing as well. So many like critically acclaimed comics can actually be that choppy when they're made. So if you're trying to do a comic adaptation for a movie, you can expect it to be kind of choppy with the editing.
Nope, I don't disagree with you. I don't disagree with you at all.
But yeah, that's my thoughts on everyone kind of still bashing it over a week later. But continuing with Batman vs Superman, yeah, Ben Affleck's only contracted for 2 Justice League films, and that's his contract up.
Huh.
So whether he's gonna be like
Well, there's
actually in
rumors
a
that he was
Batman
wanting
solo
to
movie.
direct the next Batman film.
Oh, I know, but again, I'm just commenting on that's what he's contracted for. He's probably gonna get another contract and like stay on for those movies and everything. But at the moment, that's where his contract ends. Which, if he didn't get it renewed, would be quite problematic for Warner Brothers. But I think they're going to fight tooth and nail to get him back, considering even the negative reviews have said that he's one of the best things about the movie.
Yeah. I enjoyed his character so much.
Oh yeah, I don't get me wrong. I have loved like almost every cinematic version of Batman in some way or form. Michael Keaton, for the time, I thought he was perfect. He did an amazing Bruce Wayne, and I thought he did a freaking damn good Batman. Christian Bale, I thought I thought he did a really good Bruce Wayne. I wasn't as keen on his Batman as a lot of other people were, but I still thought he did a good job for the way that the movie was being presented. But with this, I think Ben Affleck is honestly the Batman that I've been waiting for, the more comic kind of related version of the character. So again, I'm really happy
Yeah.
that he was cast. But yeah, I'm hoping he gets contracted for the other films. I very much doubt that Warner Brothers wouldn't get him with another contract, but I think it's just going to be a wait and see thing for now.
Yeah, I completely agree with you.
Moving on, but still kind of related, Hans Zimmer, who did compose Batman vs Superman with Junkie XL, says that he is now retiring from superhero films,
Aw.
which saddened me quite deeply
Yeah.
because he's one of my favorite composers, and superhero films are some of my favorite films. So again, that kind of goes hand in hand with why I'm disappointed. But I can see his reasoning because in the interview, I think it was an interview, but regardless, he said that the Dark Knight trilogy was a trilogy to everyone else. It was just a trilogy of films, but it was 11 years of his life, and he doesn't want that to take anything else away, especially from that genre. So I can get his reasoning. It just still makes me a bit.
Yeah. Your music kind of starts falling into a place, and he doesn't want to really settle on
Yeah.
sound. I completely
And
understand that.
and plus, if he was continuing to Justice League, he said, like himself in another interview, I'm pretty sure, like composing the different themes for Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, Lex, and like the different characters was hard enough for that film. He would have to compose different themes for Flash, Cyborg, all the other characters that are going to be in Justice League, because it is going to be stuffed to a point similar to Avengers. Not necessarily in a bad way, but again, from a composing point, he would have to do so much work that I can again get his reasoning for wanting to leave the genre behind.
Yep, I'm 100% with you. I completely understand the reasoning. I may not like it, but I understand
Yeah.
it. Those are two
But,
different emotions.
yeah, because like I had to listen to the soundtrack kind of recently, and I want to give a medal to whoever said that him and Junkie should have teamed up because it was amazing, my opinion. But yeah, speaking of Junkie, actually, well, more specifically Deadpool, which he composed. Deadpool is now the highest grossing R-rated film of all time,
Yeah.
which makes
Yeah.
me extremely happy.
Yeah.
Because I know a majority of people liked it. Yeah, there are some negatives, but there's always going to be some people who don't like the thing that you like. But how well that's been received, and going forward, seeing more of Ryan Reynolds as Deadpool and like the way that they've handled that, I cannot wait. And the fact that it's been so successful gives me confidence that they're going to try and replicate that as much as possible.
Yeah. I mean, the sequel is looking good. Like, and I'm waiting
Well,
to
yeah,
hear more.
Cable.
Yeah. I can't wait to start hearing about them casting Cable.
Yeah, Kira Knightley. Continuing with Fox, Gambit's production has been delayed until the end of the year due to rewrites.
I'm so worried about
That,
that
that,
movie
that movie's
now.
been severely troubled.
Yeah. That's what's got me super scared is just the
Like, I'm pretty sure
delays.
they switched directors. They had to, like, negotiate the lead actor's contract and all this, like, one or two times, and it's just generally been a bit shaky, and now this delay kind of makes me quite worried
Yeah.
about it.
Yeah, it's worrisome. It's very
Yep.
worrisome. Like, cause like Channing Tatum at one point left the film
Yeah.
and then came back. So yeah, and if
I, I'm,
this,
I'm excited for how the movie's like shaping up to be if it goes the way it's going, because I think Channing Tatum could actually be a really good Gambit if
Mhm.
they pull it off right. But at the same time, with this much trouble, I'm kind of concerned that it's going to affect the movie in quite a severe way, especially with the change in director.
Yeah,
I don't know how early it was, but regardless, it can still affect the movie in quite a big way. Kind of like Ant-Man with Edgar Wright leaving. Don't get me wrong, I loved Ant-Man, but I can also see why people like
yeah. Oh no, completely understandable. I'm right there with you. I can understand
why people were
why.
kind of annoyed and deeply saddened that Edgar Wright left Ant-Man. But I actually fairly enjoyed the movie
Hmm.
myself. But again, I can see why people were annoyed. I just really hope that the same thing doesn't happen with Gambit to the point that nobody likes it really. But I'll try to be optimistic about that. I think that's everything for TV. I mean, movie news. I can move on to game news if you want.
Yeah, sure. What's going on in the world of video games?
Well, there hasn't been an overwhelming amount over the last week, but quite a bit of Final Fantasy 15 news came out.
Yeah, I saw something on my Xbox. They did an event or something.
Oh yeah, they did an event. I can't remember specifically what it was, but it was a big Final Fantasy related event, and
Yeah.
they announced a whole bunch.
Do they have a
Like
release date?
the release date, yep, September 30th.
Interesting.
They've released a demo for the game. I don't know if it's on Xbox, but I know it's on PS4.
I'll check later. I will definitely check that
Um,
later.
it's getting a six-part anime series that has the first episode's been released, and the next four will be released over the rest of 2016, with the
Yay!
sixth
Where
part
can we
only being
watch that?
available in. Pardon?
Where can we watch that? Because I didn't see anything about that on Crunchyroll.
I don't think it was Crunchyroll. I think it was a different streaming service. Um, but the first part has been released. The next four will be out over 2016, and the final part is only going to be included in the Ultimate Edition of the game.
Ah, well, look, I know what I'm pre-ordering now.
Yep.
But yeah, I just looked at it. It's on YouTube. It has
Oh,
its own channel, and it's 10 minutes long.
Well, whoever gets the sixth part in the Ultimate Edition, somebody will probably leak it or something, like post it online.
Yeah.
So I don't think you're going to have to be too worried about not seeing that. The game is also getting a feature-length film starring Lena Headey, Sean Bean, and Aaron Paul.
Really?
I think it's going to be like CGI kind of fully animated style movie, but yeah, it's going to be released before the game sometime this year, and yeah, apparently it's going to be big. Not being a massive Final Fantasy nerd, I can't really comment,
I
but it
am,
seems like they're going all out.
well, yeah, they're hoping this one will be as big as 7 because honestly, I can see the like JRPG genre dying. Like cuz Japan has moved on to mobile gaming. Like their console sales have dropped compared to the US and Europe. Heck, even Sony is for the consoles leaning towards more Western developers.
Yeah.
Like no one's producing for console. Mobile is the way to go. So I
I
don't.
really hope that isn't the future of games.
What mobile? Me and you both. I like
Yeah,
consoles, but
I mean, I like the odd mobile game, like if it's done well and it isn't free, like pay to win or that. But on a whole, like the entire kind of industry around mobile games, it's even more deplorable than the console industry, and that is saying something. Because on a whole, there are some real dark places in the console industry, but none of that's anything compared to how bad the mobile industry can be.
yeah.
I mean, one of my biggest personal gripes is that one of the highest rated and highest downloaded games is a Kim Kardashian game. That just hurts my soul. But yeah, I'm really hoping that that isn't where gaming is heading. I don't think it is necessarily, but again, I really hope it isn't. But I'm actually, speaking of mobile games, Nintendo has released their first mobile app. Mitomo. It was released in the UK and the US a few days ago, and the users spiked from 1 to 3 million in a day.
Yeah, I saw that on the listing. Like it's a social app, isn't it?
It's it's very slightly similar to, I think it's called Tomodachi Life or something, like this 3DS game that they released a while ago. But it's pretty much a social networking kind of thing, but it's also got like mini games or whatever else. But yeah, it's been highly successful so far. So I think Nintendo's going to be looking into mobile gaming a bit more as well.
I found more information on the Final Fantasy 15 movie. It's called Final Fantasy 15 Kingsglaive.
Oh yeah,
Everything you said, like Sean Bean.
Lena Headey, Aaron Paul. Yep.
Yeah. Here's a synopsis. The magical kingdom of Lucius is home to the hallowed crystal, but the menacing empire of Niflheim will stop at nothing to make it theirs. War has raged between the two as long as most can remember. King Regis Lucia demands an elite force of soldiers dubbed the Kingsglaive, wielding their king's magic. Nix Ulrich and his fellow glaives stand before the crowned city of Insomnia, fighting to stay the inexorable advance of the army. This sounds like it's very much of a prequel, but it doesn't focus on the main characters.
Yeah.
So yeah, well, I'll watch it. Kingsglaive will be released by Sony Home Entertainment in 2016 before Final Fantasy 15, and will be available for streaming and download. It will not be in theaters. That's fair, because both 7 and Spirits Within got a lot of grief um, over the CG. But this looks good. I'm not complaining.
Yeah. But yeah, the Nintendo app's been doing real well. I played a bit of it, and it's alright. It's weirdly funny because the characters have synthesized voices and they say whatever you say, so it's real weird. But yeah, on a whole, I think it's going to be real successful for Nintendo.
What was that game that came out for the 3DS? Where you built like this little island and your Mii's lived in it.
Yeah, that's Tomodachi Life.
Yeah. Okay, so it's a little like that.
Yep.
All right. I might download it. I don't know.
But yeah, again, doing real successful. Nintendo's probably going to delve into mobile games a bit more,
Well,
which I don't inherently have a problem with. It's Nintendo. They've always been kind of more of a mobile kind of console kind of company. But I don't know.
well, their handheld's doing better than the Wii U, and they're hoping the
Yeah.
NX does a lot better.
There's been some rumors recently that the NX is going to be more powerful than the PS4, but I kind of doubt that.
I'm with you there, especially with the 4.5s coming out.
Which, again, still hasn't been officially announced.
I know.
But if Sony does it, I don't think it's going to be successful, because I don't think anyone's really wanting to pay for another PS4 just for a bit of a graphics upgrade.
I'm hoping for the Slim, because I'm all about buying that sucker and buying the PS4 for a reduced price.
But I think that's all my gaming news, unless you have anything else to add.
Not really. I haven't seen anything that caught my eyes too much lately. It's been a slow week, and we even said it's going to be a slow week, so we're going to come up with topics and talk about them ourselves. But like I said, I brought up the Yu-Gi-Oh! 20th anniversary just to have something to talk about today.
I've been playing Fallout 4 Automatron. A whole bunch.
I need to start that.
Real good, especially for the asking price, I think.
Well, I have the season pass for my Xbox.
Oh, same, but I did look up the price just to know how much they think the content is worth, and yeah, it's about right.
Okay.
It doesn't add anything, like, massively, like, game-altering, but it does add a little system that's nice, like the robot companions, and this little story's actually alright. It's better than I thought it would be. And yeah, it was generally quite fun. I also started playing Dying Light the Following, which came out ages ago, but I just got the season pass recently, so been playing that a bit. But apart from that, I haven't really been doing too much, so I can't really...
Yeah, I need to... I'll probably do this tomorrow, but I'm going to stream the last episode of Minecraft.
Yep.
Minecraft Story Mode.
Well, technically it's not the last, because there's going to be 3 post-season episodes.
Yeah, but the last of the original season.
Yep.
The season finale, which is an epilogue, because the story proper ended in episode 4. I'm probably going to stream that in full tomorrow. I'm going to figure out how to, like, I've got to get some things done right now, because where I reset my computer, I lost all my video editing software. So that's what's kept me from doing a Let's Play series right now. And I need to play the Fallout DLC. So
it's really good.
I need to dive into that and at least play through the story.
Like, size-wise, it's probably closer to Hearthfire than, like, Dawnguard or something if you're comparing it to Skyrim. But it's much better than Hearthfire. Pardon?
Hearthfire didn't have much of a story, though.
Oh no, but I'm just saying size-wise it is more closer to that with how much it actually changes. But I still think it's a lot better than Hearthfire, because I did not enjoy that too much.
I mean, yeah, it was nice. You could get married, you could build a home, you could adopt a kid, you could decorate the home. They
But that's where
made
it ends.
and they took that whole idea from that and ramped it up to 10 for Fallout.
Yeah, pretty much. Except it properly works in Fallout.
Well,
Didn't always
no,
work in
the
Skyrim.
building in that whole system's buggy as hell, but there are mods that make it a little better.
Well, the Fallout system.
Yeah, it's not
It's worked
perfect.
relatively fine for me.
Well, no, I've been like, I have some nicks about the settlement system entirely, but that it doesn't
Okay.
include the building and stuff like that. Like one of my biggest complaints is I've been collecting the models.
Yep.
You can't display them.
Technically, you can.
You can, but one of your villagers is going to walk up, take it, and then you're never going to be able to get it back.
Well, no, they don't touch anything that you place down.
Well, the problem is you can't place it down like an item.
You
have
can.
to
If
physically-
you drop it and then go into workshop mode, you can pick it up and place it around like it's an actual workshop item.
I did that too, and they still took
Hmm.
it.
I've never had that problem.
And once they take it, it disappears. It doesn't even go into their inventory. So yeah, I got little butthurt over that. Just a
I can
wee bit.
imagine. But if that's everything you have, I could move on to TV.
Yeah, because I'm still pretty far behind. I've been watching Supergirl here and there, but
Yeah. Well, I've barely watched Supergirl, but I did watch it this week because it had a crossover with The Flash.
yeah, I need to go back and watch that.
Yep, the episode was called World's Finest and had great chemistry between Grant Gustin and Melissa Benoit. I think it's Benoit. But yeah, they were great in it together. The Flash's interactions with the rest of the cast was actually quite good. And the Livewire / Silver Banshee team up kind of thing actually worked quite well, I thought. So I haven't watched too much of Supergirl, so it was a bit disjointed to me because I hadn't seen what had come before, but generally I'd give it about an 8.5.
Well, I mean, it's sporadic, but they're handling the Superman mythos pretty well. I got a feeling we're going to see a villainous Hank Hanshaw soon, since they've outed the Martian Manhunter in the series.
Yeah. But moving on to Flash. Flash had a really good episode this week. Tom Cavanagh technically played 3 characters, which was extremely enjoyable. The main premise and story of the episode was actually quite awesome as well. It dealt with time travel and the ramifications, and I think they pulled it off really good.
So essentially they're saying, we're not going to do a Flashpoint. You're welcome.
I think so, but yeah, they pretty much time traveled back to season 1, and because of the storyline and the way they pulled it off, I think worked real well. But yeah, there was also an emotional goodbye scene at the end, which I again think they pulled off real well because it really did hit everyone if you have been watching it since the start. And for a whole, I think it's about a 9. But bit more not as good and more entirely disappointing was Arrow this week. They had a new episode, Beacon of Hope, and I think it's the most soap opera-like episode they've ever had, in my opinion. Because I love Arrow and what it has been, but this one episode, here's a quote: "It's cruel that I can save this city, but not my love life." That hurt me. That really hurt me.
Yeah.
there was also so many B puns because the main villain was the Bug-Eyed Bandit, who was originally in Flash but was brought over as the villain of the week. And Emily Kinney, who was in Walking Dead, plays the character, and she actually had a good motivation, but again, the B puns were aplenty. And there was also this weird B exoskeletal suit thing that was like out of nowhere, wasn't explained, and was just kind of brushed off, which again I didn't think was too great. And yet, Black Canary, I think the actress they have for Black Canary could be like really good as a character, but the way they write her and like the way they show off the canary cry, it does not do the character any good service. So generally, this episode was quite a bad point in this season. So I'd give it about 6.5, and that's being nice.
I do agree with you. I've never been a big fan of Laurel Lance.
Yeah, I think the actress could be a really good Black Canary / Laurel Lance, but I don't think the writers or just anyone involved gives her a good enough opportunity.
Nope.
Because they're constantly just kind of writing her as like, oh, I magically kind of became Black Canary in like a week, and now I think I'm super cool, I'm the best, and I should be here totally. Yep. And then they just kind of continue with her there, and I don't know, it just kind of seems out of place to me, but that's just my opinion. But yeah, Arrow was a bit of a low point. Legends of Tomorrow actually had a real good episode though, so I think that kind of redeemed the CW as well. Yeah, one of the subplots that I had a problem with before was actually made to be a bit more reasonable and understandable this week, which actually made me quite happy. There was quite a bit of discord among the team. They showed off a young Rage because time travel, and they introduced Talia, which I did not think they'd do because that's more of a Batman thing. But yeah. There was a big reveal actually about one of the main villains as well, which I thought was handled really well, and generally the episode was a 9 for me. And last but not least, Walking Dead had a new episode called East, which is a very blunt title, but I had a few problems with it. Like, there was a death the previous week, and like the impact of it was not shown anywhere near enough to make it like reasonable. Like one of the the character who died's partner, like you'd expect them to show her learning about the character's death, but nope. It's just kind of brushed off, and I felt that was a bit out of place. But they showed more of, I think he's a Negan villain, Dwight, and I think he was pulled off well, especially since he was in it last week and how they've introduced them. And the ending was real good, but in a whole, I'd give it 7.5. So yeah, TV's been good in some places this week, but real bad in others. And I think that's all I have. So unless you have anything else.
Nope.
I mean, I could scrape through some articles, like